Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Steph. Today we are setting up my July pages in my new Archer and Olive bullet journal. This is a new one. I'm using for this a lot of this guy, my round stencil, and also my ruler, and my Tombow duo brush pens in the tropical palettes 685, 803, 291, 723 is not from that palette, but 403 is. And then I'm using my Staedtler Triplus Fineliner for a lot of this. So again, this is a new Archer and Olive journal. I'm starting this one. This will be for July through December of 2021. And this is a new one on their page. I'll put a link to it. I can't remember what the name of it was. But I'm using the 7/8 circle stencil on this grid and going in with my Staedtler and doing this for a long time. So I tried freehanding it since I had penciled out with the stencil and realized that nope, that stencil is going along for the whole ride and will be featured in all of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the end because that was just a lot of the same thing. For my font, I really just kind of went with like swoopy print. It's not cursive or anything, but adding in little like mermaid tails to certain letters. And I used the Tombow 403, the teal one, for all of my lettering for like headers and things like that, which I thought was very appropriate for a mermaid scales theme. Yeah, so this theme, in case you haven't already noticed, because I didn't mention it, is mermaids, and I'm going with the tropical palette, and yeah, so it's gonna be really cute. I didn't notice it was going to do this, but I'm actually really happy that it did. Across the pages on my full spread cover page here, in the middle, they absolutely line up, which made me really happy. So leaving this gap area empty for like quotes and for the mini calendar and everything, I just kind of lined up those arrows, because there's arrows on the, every quarter of the circle, and lined up the arrows to do the little quarter circle. So here I messed up, clearly, even though I speak English and was an English major for a while. Forgot how to spell progress. Put 2 G's in there and didn't realize it until after I filled it in. So I just used my little whiteout roll-on, and it's not exactly as white as the paper, but I covered it up pretty well. The alternative would have been to cut out a little piece of paper, but I didn't like how that looked because it had a shadow and it would have been obvious, and the whiteout was just not that noticeable, and I can live with it. So, kind of perfect for the quote though. Strive for progress, not perfection. Nobody's perfect. Clearly, myself included. And then I spent a ridiculous amount of time doing this, coloring in the scales. Originally, my plan had been to fill in all of the scales, with maybe 1 or 2 here and there left white as like an accent. Quickly realized that that was going to be just kind of an eyesore, even with these beautiful colors that I went with. I tried to be as random as possible. I filled some in with solid colors, and then I'll go in and do some with lines, some with cute little patterns like hearts or stars or sparkles, confetti polka dots, arches, all kinds of things, just to kind of give it a varied patterned, kind of boho feel. And that's gonna take a while, so I will leave you guys to the music. Sorry about the lighting change and the slight adjustment there. I had to take a break because my camera was dying, so I had to come back after it had charged a bit, and by that time the sun had set a little bit and I was mainly relying on my overhead light, which is clearly a little bit more yellow than the natural light from my big sliding glass doors. But here I'm just kind of finishing it off with those patterns I talked about, little hearts and doodles and things like that. I've said before in other videos that I just really enjoy the meditative quality of like simple pattern doodling, and so this was really actually, even though it took a really long time, pretty relaxing to do. I wasn't trying to be perfect. I wasn't trying to be, you know, using a ruler for those little lines or anything like that. I was just kind of picking a color, going in an area where it didn't look like there was too much of that color, and kind of going from there. Let me know what you guys think though, if you would have done anything differently. Would you have like only done a couple of colors and only done a couple of solid scales? Would you have filled in the whole thing with the same color or like a gradient possibly? I went back and forth with a lot of ideas. I knew I wanted to do mermaid scales and I knew I wanted to do this kind of a pattern, but I thought about watercolor, I thought about paint, I thought about a lot of different kind of possibilities before I saw this picture on Pinterest of like a boho mermaid print, which I will link, that I had that inspired me to kind of do this kind of boho random pattern here. Alright, this is clearly the next day because the sun is back up, but we're moving on now to the rest of the setup. I promise no more lighting changes for the rest of the time. So similar to last month with the gingham theme, which you guys really seem to enjoy, it got a lot more views than any of my previous videos. I'm sticking to this mermaid scale pattern in any big empty spaces, and I'm doing the same font as I did on the cover page for the title of July in the same color, and then I leave a space on the right hand side for events and for goals. I may still go back and change the color on that goals. It's a little light for me, but we'll see how I like it. You know, it's less light in person than it is on camera. And then I just do 5 boxes wide, 6 boxes long, because I highlight the first box, the first row on every box. And so I really, you know, when you take that part of it out, it's a 5x5 box to write things down in. And I do the same thing as I did on the previous page. Almost all of the scales get colored in or some kind of pattern in kind of a random order. And I think I like how this turned out even more than the cover page. Tracker. I think just about every single month this spread is always my favorite. I love setting up the trackers and coming up with creative ideas for the mood tracker. So this month I'm tracking 6 habits plus my weight daily. I just want to point out I don't recommend people weigh themselves daily or care at all what the scale says. That's not what I'm saying, but I am on a journey and I am wanting to track the effect of water intake on like water retention and bloating and just daily weight. So I will be weighing myself every day in July just to see how the other habits that I'm tracking affect that. If I seem to retain more water after a workout, if I seem to lose weight, if I've exceeded my water goal, things like that. But yeah, so I'm tracking 6 habits and weighing myself daily and creating a key where the bolder, darker colors are the higher rating. So the dark, vibrant purple is if I exceed the goal, the teal is if I meet the goal, the coral salmon color is if I almost meet the goal, the pink is if I kind of met the goal, and the mint green is if I didn't even attempt to work out or, you know, eat healthy or whatever. So that's how that's gonna work. But yeah, I'm just really happy with the overall look of how this is even before it's filled in. I can't wait to see what it's gonna look like, all colorful and tropical and pretty. For the mood tracker, I actually went with the biggest full circle stencil on here, which is it says 8/8, which I'm guessing is an inch. And I made it bigger than the rest of them because I wanted it to take up as much of the page as possible. I could have used the little individual dots to make them even bigger, but that just seemed like more work with lining things up, and this was easier with the arrows that those little circles had. And I'm happy with how it turned out. What I did here for the mood tracker, which is a little bit different, is I assigned two tags to each mood, so there's a color and a pattern. Essentially, if I'm happy and productive, then I can either do the color for happy and the pattern for productive, or the color for productive and the pattern for happy, just to get more variety in the final look, which I'm happy to show you guys in the next video how that ends up turning out. But I have happy, productive, sad, anxious, and irritable, which are kind of the moods that I'm always in, just to kind of keep track of that. But yeah, let me know if you guys have done anything similar to that with your mood trackers. But yeah, with that, we're moving into the brain dump. I always have a brain dump. This one I needed definitely to do the full 2 pages. Sometimes I only do 1. This one needed to be 2 because I have a lot of migrating from my previous journal into this one, since I won't be going back to reference previous month's brain dumps for things. And I need to migrate, you know, I'm planning a big trip out of state in August, and my daughter is spending summer out of state, and there's a bunch of birthdays in July, so there's a whole bunch of things to make note of and plan for. So bigger brain dump, but I always add some kind of decorative element with the theme. So I added in some mermaid scales. I actually did them upside down for the first time on this page, and I don't hate it. I actually really quite like it, even though it does look a little bit like that, was it Dig Trio from Pokemon? Just the little mounds. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's just really simple, basic, a place to write down everything that needs to be dealt with or done, and any necessary steps that go into that. But yeah. And now we are going to move on to what is probably my least favorite spread here coming up, which is the weekly setup. I just did a really basic box with drop shadow. Again, this is one of those months where in order to get to a Monday start, I had to do 11 days on one spread, so space was limited. So I'm basically giving myself 10 boxes for each day down, and then I think it's 9 wide to write in key tasks, and then I have a running task list for the time frame and a big spot for notes. And then what I do like about this page is this looking like July is behind these boxes by stopping and drawing. You can see what I did. Anyway, I added the drop shadows in alternating colors, and I'm really happy with how that turned out as well. Although I do think that that mint green color is a bit light and you can't really see it on camera. It looks really cute in person. Yeah, so this is just a really simple weekly setup. I don't know if I'll make any changes or if I'll keep with this kind of theme throughout July. Sometimes I stick with the same weekly like I did in June. Sometimes I change it up like I did in January or April. Or was that May? I'm losing track of the months. I can't believe it's already halfway through 2021. With everything that's been going on, it just is amazing to me. Those parentheses, by the way, are for the weather for that day. So I am going to write in the weather in those parentheses and then the key tasks below that. And I'll probably also include a space to track my steps and my water intake on the daily so that I don't have to worry about it. And then here I was crazy and realized I didn't have enough lines, so I had to do an extra one. I was going to leave it kind of empty. Now I have to fill it in with all these horizontal lines just to make it make sense. But that's it. That brings us to the end of this setup. Here is my cover page with my Mermaid Scales theme and my Mermaid font. And here is my calendar spread. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments which of these spreads was your favorite, if you would incorporate any of these elements into your own bullet journal, or just what theme you're doing for July. But that brings us to the end. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time.